Yo, welcome to Fast Forward Mindset Motivational Podcast. I'm your host, Coach James. This is where we rewire your thoughts, reset your mindset, and fast forward your life. No more rewinding, just discipline, motivation, and the truth you need to become unstoppable. If you're ready to elevate your mindset and take control of your future, you're in the right place. Let's go.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope all is going well. So, I'm recording this podcast on a Monday, and I'll tell you the reason why. I had a busy weekend. Have you ever had one of those weekends where it was so busy that you never got a moment to just sit down and actually just gather your thoughts? Well, if you've had that weekend before, that's what I had this weekend. But there was no way I was going to cop out of giving y'all a great episode. So my energy might not be the greatest, but I'm telling you now, this is going to be a fire episode. If you have not followed the podcast, make sure you hit that follow button. When you do that, you never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. So I had a buddy that I used to run with, and my buddy had a different lifestyle from me. As I shared with y'all before, I had a 2-family home. Both my mom and dad made pretty good income. We owned a house. Our house had a pool. Me and my brothers and my sisters probably had the best of every materialistic thing that a kid would want growing up. And so we had it made as kids. Our parents had it made as adults. But my buddy wasn't so lucky. He come from a broken family home. He had family, but his family was kind of distant, and they lived a totally different lifestyle than what I was used to or accustomed to seeing. His family was full of drugs and alcohols, right? And so there was a lot of addiction in his family that he seen growing up. And because he saw, is what I should say, saw the addiction in the family, he tried so hard not to be like a few members of his family. One of his family members struggled with crack cocaine. I mean, y'all remember crack cocaine back in the 70s and the 80s, I think it was. I mean, 90s, that stuff it was massive. It was everywhere. I remember my first time I heard the term, that's a crackhead. It's like, what does that mean? And it took me a while to understand that growing up, what a crackhead was. But his family was full of drug addicts, crack cocaine. He had a couple family members that was addicted to alcohol. They struggled with alcoholism. And so he seen nothing but the worst from everybody in his family. And because he seen nothing but the worst, his plan was to not go down that same path that everyone else in his family went down. He tried so hard not to be a statistic. And he tried so hard not to be that guy that he ultimately ended up being that guy. But he tried really hard. And it just didn't work out in his favor. And y'all, sometimes I feel like we try so hard in life not to be something that we end up becoming that same very thing that we don't want to be. Scary, right? I'm sure some of y'all got some stories of people who you knew, or maybe even your struggles in life where you seen something that you didn't want to become, and ultimately you end up becoming that. And that's typical for a lot of us. We just try so hard. We plan not to fail. And when we end up planning not to fail, in some cases we fail. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a failure strategy in place just in case you fail. But I'm saying that we try so hard sometimes that we do fail. I listen to Myron Golden a lot. And if you know who Myron Golden is, if you don't know who Myron Golden is, go look him up on YouTube. I mean, this guy's got videos about entrepreneurship. He owns several businesses. He used to be a pastor of a church. He has several YouTube channels. He's written several books. And I mean, this guy is just out there. Myron Golden is where it's at. And I love hearing him speak because he talk about real stuff, at least that I can relate to. I can't say that you're going to have the same opinion that I have of him, but however, the opinion I have of him is very strong. It's a great opinion. But Myron Golden said that he doesn't set goals for himself because if you set goals for yourself, you do not allow God to guide you. And when I heard that, I kind of disagree with it. I'm like, wait a minute, bro, did you just say you don't set goals? Because if you set goals, you're writing God's story that God has written for you already? Caught me off guard. But the point he was trying to make was that not that you can't set goals, but what he was really saying is that when we set goals for ourselves, we don't allow God to guide us to get to that goal because we set the goal. We think we can do it without God. And so his point is that he don't set goals because if he set goals, he feels like he's stepping on God's toes. His prayer that he pray every day is to allow God to guide him to where God feel like he needs him to be. And he said because he prayed that prayer, or he prays that prayer, God puts him where he needs to be because he's guided by God. And I'm definitely not going to go against that now that I understand his explanation around it. But I will say this. Tell God what you want and tell God what you need. That's my philosophy, right? Tell God what you want. You tell God what you need, and then you allow him to guide you. Now, I'm not saying that by saying that, at least in my opinion, like you're tell God how to change your life, how you want your life to be. But there's also the scripture in the Bible that says that if a man think it, he is that, right? So it's how we think about things and it's how we do things. There's also scripture to say that if you pray to God, he will give you the desires of your heart. So if you tell God what you want and what you need, and you follow his guidance, you don't have to try so hard because you're guided by him. You're following his direction. He's going to put you to where you need to be. And let me say this, y'all. I have never heard someone that's guided by God, that has been guided by God wholeheartedly, that God walked them down the path that they should not go down. Never. Now, people may say whatever. You might have heard stories of people said, well, God didn't give me what I wanted, so I did this. God didn't put me where I want to be, so I had to get it on my own. They didn't follow God, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. If you ask God for what you need, you tell him what you want, the desires are in your heart, he will guide you to where he needs you to be through his guidance. That's where we go wrong, is we forget the word guidance. God is your counselor. He should guide you. You know how you go to junior high? I remember my first year of junior high. It was blast. But anyways, so you get assigned a counselor. And it's kind of funny, when I went to junior high, your counselor was assigned by your last name. And if I remember correctly, I think my counselor had like S through Z's. My last name is W, Walking-Jaw. So I was always last in everything. I was the last brother. But so my counselor sat down with her when I was going to 7th grade, before I went to 7th grade. And when I sat down with her, she starts telling me the classes. She's my guidance counselor, right? Guidance counselor. She starts telling me what classes I need to take, what electives I can take based on what I want elective wise. But she starts telling me the general studies that I have to have. Same thing for high school. You assign the counselor. She tells you what classes to take based on what you want your future major to be or whatever it is you want to accomplish in high school. So you have a guidance counselor, and a guidance counselor follows you and guides you to where you need to be in order for you to graduate with honors, in order for you to graduate with an aviation certification, in order for you to graduate with an auto tech certification. And a lot of times we follow that counselor because they are guiding us to the path we want to go down. Well, the same thing with God. You tell him what you need. You tell him why you want it. You follow his guidance and you'll be there. But back to my point, we try so hard sometimes we just end up failing because we try way too hard. Now, I'm not saying that it does not warrant effort, because effort definitely needs to be there. But like I said, my buddy, he tried so hard to where he just ended up failing. He ended up dabbling into drugs. He ended up dabbling into alcohol. He ended up sitting on the corner selling drugs. He also ended up going to prison. See my point? He tried so hard and he had no guidance. He didn't want to follow the guidance that he's seen, but he also didn't ask God for his guidance and follow his guidance. So y'all, we need action. So I want to point y'all down and give y'all some guidance. And I'm not God, not trying to take his spot or say I am him, but I want to give y'all some guidance today as to things you can do to not try so hard and end up failing. I mean, sometimes you're going to fail, but you fall back down and you get back up, right? But number one, and find your passion. Y'all, I love what I do. I love my career at work. I love my podcasting career. I love being a family man. I love being a generous husband to my wife. Like, I have a lot of passion for things that I do. But I found those passions through guidance from God. And so when you find your passion, it's your purpose you have in life. I heard LeBron say the other day on an interview, LeBron's getting old. He's getting ready to retire from the NBA. I mean, this guy he's had a great career. And I know there's a lot of reserves about he's not the GOAT, Michael Jordan's the GOAT, all this other talk. I don't want to talk GOAT talk on this episode because this is not a GOAT talk scenario. What I want to talk is that he shared that he is so grateful because he get paid to do something, to play basketball, something that he loves to do, something that he's passionate about. And if you've seen the look on LeBron's face when he mentioned that, he was glowing. And that brother ain't pregnant. That brother ain't pregnant, but he was glowing. You ain't got to be pregnant to be glowing, brothers. Just see, no. But for real though, y'all, he know what his passion is. He know what he loves in life. He knows his purpose, and because of that, he finds himself and he has passion for life. And when you find passion for life, you keep going no matter what. Even if you fail 3 times, you keep getting back up. Number 2, overcome your past. Everybody has to overcome their past. Everybody has a past. Everybody's got a sad story to tell. Believe me, if you got a sad story right now that you can share with somebody, I guarantee you there's somebody in this world who's got a sadder story than you. I saw this Facebook meme the other day, and it said something to the effect that, try telling this lady about your sad story. She didn't have a bottom half of her body. All she had was the top, her arms, and like she's walking on these little slat things to be able to get around. And like I said, the caption in the meme said, tell this lady how bad your life is. And here she is walking, living life, enjoying life, and that's her life. And I guarantee that a lot of y'all are walking on both your 2 feet and you got two operating arms. So you have to overcome your past, get over your negative thinking, whatever it is that's holding you back, get over it. It might not be the easiest thing to do, but guess what? You got to get over your negative thinking. Negative thinking will keep you in the rearview mirror all day long. You've got to find a way to overcome your past, overcome your bad thoughts, turn them into good thoughts. Number 3, find your peace. Find your hobby. I'm telling y'all, this weekend, I brought a brand new pair of headsets for the podcast, and I could not wait to get home to record this episode. Like I told you, I was busy this weekend, but I was excited to get home to record this episode because I know I have brand new headphones. But it's because this is my hobby. I love teaching people how to be positive. I love teaching people how to enjoy life. And because I love doing that, once I get done, I find my inner peace from a hobby that is now my career. So find your peace. Last but not least, love your journey. Love the journey. Love the journey. My journey hasn't always been the easiest. It hasn't been a walk in the park. But let me tell you one thing about my journey. Through my trials, my struggles, and my shortcomings, my journey is beautiful. When I started going to church about 8 years ago, I belonged to a church in Queen Creek called Rock Point. If you haven't been to Rock Point, go check it out. Pastor Bills is the pastor there. And I brag about this guy all day long. And I haven't been in that church in a couple years now, but I still watch Pastor Bill online. Pastor Bill is one of the best pastors in Arizona. Rock Point Church in Queen Creek. Go check him out. But y'all, when I was going to that church, we had this thing where we talked about your life is not easy. Your life sometimes has bumps and bruises, but it's your journey, right? And we had this motto, and I hope I don't butcher this, Pastor Bill. If you're listening, forgive me, but it was learn, talk, where. I might have said that backwards, y'all, but something to that effect, right? To that effect. So you learn about God. You wear God's spirit. Oh, know, go, and grow. I had it all backwards, y'all. That's what it was. I was getting there. It was know God, grow with God, and then go out in this world and share your story, disciple to people about God. When you love your journey, you'll be a disciple. When you love your struggles that you've been through, you overcame those, you'll fall in love with the journey. And you'll tell everybody about your rocky journey. Know, go, and grow. I thought I was going to remember Pastor Bill. There you go. So now I hope I redeem myself with you. I'm dedicating this one to you, Pastor Bill. But no, you will love the journey. And once you learn the journey, your journey is your journey. It's your story that you tell. Right? Nobody can tell your story better than you. Because you know what the pain felt like. You know what the embarrassment was that you carried with you day in, day out. You know the abandonment, how it felt to have your heart in a cast. You know what it felt to have your love taken advantage of. And nobody can express those emotions and feelings better than you. But you got to love the journey. Love the journey. So we don't have to try so hard. We must let God be our guidance counselor. Because when He's your guidance counselor, you don't go wrong. You don't fail the majority of the time. You end up sharing a story of joy. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, if you have not followed the podcast, make sure you hit that follow button. If you do that, you never miss a moment to rewire the way you think. Yo, I'm not hard to find. I'm on IG all day. It's James Watkins at 40 and Fit Life Coach. Don't forget to check out my website at www.rewirethewayouthink.com. If you're having thoughts today and struggling with thoughts of suicide, please don't hesitate to call the Suicide Prevention Hotline at 988. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. And as I always say, that's practice daily mindset rehabilitation. And that's my 2 cents in there, y'all. Peace.
Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. And remember, don't rewind your life, fast forward it. Until next time, keep moving forward. Hey, y'all, I'm Coach James. Let me help rewire the way you think. All right, y'all. Peace.